Iowa athletics, obviously, very. This is home. This. I love. If you want me just pick up groceries or something, just give me any reason to come back to Iowa City, I'll come back. And like Coach Ferentz alluded to earlier, that I think I haven't worn out my welcome, but I am I'm familiar with the players and the coaches and this place, and it's dear to my heart. And so you combine what Farm Bureau is doing, you combine the Hawkeye family, and I can't be more honored to be recognized by those two organizations, and then you go step back further to what ANF stands for, and what that logo and like Denny talked to when I was 6 years old, when Coach Fry put that logo on. What I love about it is looking back at the impact that obviously I didn't experience and didn't really know what was going on. I never heard of it until I probably got to school here. But what I love about it is, in that moment of dire straits of family farming, the crisis of farming in the 80s, and just everything going upside down, Coach Fry, who, just like all the other coaches, is busting their butt, studying film, worrying about winning a game against Ohio State, highly ranked Ohio State team, and thought it was more important, or important enough, to take time from the rigorous schedule of preparing for a very good team to make an impact, to do something to draw attention to the crisis, to the need that was obviously in place. And I love that he didn't do it because he thought 30 years down the road we were going to be standing here giving out awards, giving out recognitions, having a wall, recognizing former players and all that. He did it because there was a need, there was a problem with his stage and platform that he had. He was going to do something about it, and he acted upon it. And just a little sticker, it got people asking questions. It got people familiar with the situation that maybe aren't farmers or in the farming world, and really brought that attention with just a little sticker. And here we are 30 some years later talking about that little sticker. And what's the beautiful thing about this whole thing is that ANF stands something different for everyone, whether you are in a farming community, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a teacher, whatever profession, whether you're related, not related to farmers, or it's not in your blood, or it is, and that's all you know. Everyone has a story on why ANF is important, especially if you're from Iowa. I mean, I think it means something special to everyone differently. And so, again, very humbled and honored to be recognized by Iowa Farm Bureau and the ANF partnership, and then obviously Iowa Athletics and Iowa football. So this is it's going to be a great weekend, and excited to be a part of it.
You're the 5th member now of this fraternity, I guess it is. What was your thoughts when they approached you and said they were going to honor you like Casey and Jared?
Well, very honored. I mean, especially with what's unique about my situation is that those guys are farmers, especially Bruce Nelson, who I'm really close friends with. He's actually my farm manager, and because that's what he did. That's what he does, and so as I've become a farmer, he's my guy that I ask questions, and the dumb questions that I probably should have known, since I was 5, if I grew up in a farming household. So what's unique about my situation is that I respect and appreciate everything that farmers do. I don't have those stories of, driving a tractor when I was 8 years old, before I was driving a car and all that stuff, driving grain carts and all that stuff. So I don't have those kind of cool stories, but what I have is respect and a passion for farming, and I've enjoyed getting into it. And what's awesome about it is that I got great farming friends that I can ask questions, and they're like, oh, it's like no big deal to them. It's like breathing. It's just, but to me, I'm like, just like, no, tell me more. Like, you don't understand. This is, to you, it's just, that's what you do. But to me, Why do you do that? Why shouldn't we, why can't we wait 2 weeks, or why should we do it? So it's just all that stuff that it's just reaction to them. Like, just in case if we were in the film room watching football, they would probably be the same way. Or like, why'd you break that route? Or, so it's that same kind of intriguing dynamic of the culture of farming that really kind of drew me to it.
When you're back here, how involved are you with the players? And do you have a self-boundary that you try to keep so you're not sticking your nose in too far or whatever?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what's so funny about it is that, you try, like, you feel like you can relate to these players, but I'm old. Like, to them, like, they were born when I was almost playing, so it's like, it's sad to admit that you're at that point, and so you're not that cool, and so as you think you are in your head, and it's just like, oh gosh, man, I don't talk, when you say Facebook, like Facebook is like, 10 years ago, like their parents use Facebook, like they use like Snapchat, all this other stuff that I have no idea, I don't do social media, so I don't know that world. So it's just a little, when you talk to them, but no, what I do is I love working out with them. I love trying to beat them, and Coach Doyle is fantastic. Letting me, he always kind of, prefaces it with, "Are you sure?" Like, and then why? And then, and it's like, because I'm sick, I guess, in the head. I want to see if I can still keep up with these 19-year-olds. But no, it's one of those things where I love being around, and if I'm passing them in the hall, I always try to leave myself open. I'll always say hi. I'll always, ask them, how's school going? What's next for you? Just try to be engaging. So then you kind of open that window of if they do need help, if they, hey, I got this problem with this, with this, especially with my position with tight ends. I'm always like, hey, my door is open. Like, if you have any questions about anything, let me know, because you just want to be a resource for them to help, because I had so many people that helped me get to this. It doesn't, you can't do it by yourself. And so if I can pass on any little piece of advice to help them to be successful and to help them figure things out, because it's so much harder to be an athlete these days than it was back then. So it's amazing how things have changed.
How common is that culture with other universities?
I don't know. I don't know what I think. Okay, I do know what the reason why it is what it is here, because Coach Ferentz was my coach, and there's not many places 18 years down the road. After like that, your coach is still in the coach, and so. That's why when I come here, it still feels like home. Obviously, brand new, gorgeous building, but it's the familiar faces. It's the people that helped me become the player that I was, and so it's that comfort level. It's that if there's a new coach in there, a lot of coaches have different different agendas and different things, how they want to approach the past players and all that stuff, and so. It's still very easy for me to come in here, go work out, hang out with the guys, be available, be accessible. And so in other places, they've gone through about 4 coaches by now, so it's that's the beauty of this university and the coaching staff here. It's still my coach.
Alex, can you talk about how I think you had an injury from baseball when you got here, and Hayden just kind of found you, or I don't know who exactly found you and brought you here. I think you came in as a gray shirt with kind of a promise to have a scholarship in January, and I know you mowed Kinnick for a while before you were a scholarship guy.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about those early days and those very first?
Well, I'm still working on the book. No, I'm joking. No, it's I can't. Okay, yeah. So I'll very brief, but there's so many side stories. But yeah, my freshman or my senior year in high school, June 13th, day after my birthday, collided with my second baseman going for a ground ball, broke my collarbone. He weighs about 120, dripping wet, and I'm, stature of a man, 200, and I break my collarbone. It's like, what the heck? Are you kidding me? And but by that time, I sent out, my brother he was a linebacker at Iowa State, and he didn't have a very good senior year. The coaches kind of jerked him around and things like that, and it was one of those things like, all right, I don't really want to go there, but I wasn't getting looked at anyone. I mean, you got to understand, 1A, so my oldest brother Dan and I, we made a highlight tape, and sent it to all the Division I schools, Colorado, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin. I wanted to go Division I. I saw my brother play there, and I wanted to. He did JUCO first, but I was like, okay, if I can get into University Division I program, maybe by my senior year I'll be on special teams and I'll get a letterman's jacket. That was my only goal. I wanted to get a letterman's jacket, special teams. I'm happy. All right, So sent out all those tapes and VHSs, by the way, and so I was the only one. Mark Henderson came up to a practice of mine, which was like the coolest day ever, and it was like, holy crap, University of Iowa football coach is coming to watch me play basketball, and it was like, yeah, it was, so they invited me to walk on, and then when I broke my collarbone, it was kind of like that bad news. I called Coach Bielema, and because I was a linebacker and still am. No, I'm not. But he had. I was like, hey, bad news. I hope this doesn't change anything. But then that's where they brought up the idea of gray shirting. So I took 9 hours, and that unfortunately was Coach Fry's last year. And so a little drama when that fall goes on, and then Coach Fry and his staff leave. I'm coming over there, like, do any of these people know me? Like I swear, I promise they invited me to walk on, and so it was just kind of, and luckily, thankfully, Coach Elliott and Coach Elliott with his cancer, he's still kind of hanging around, and obviously Coach Bielema, they kind of signed off on me, and so that was kind of like, okay, good, I got a jersey, 119, I think was my number, and so that's kind of there's. I could go on, but that was kind of there's a lot of more valleys in that story. But it was kind of, the good Lord knows what He's doing. Things happen for a reason. And so if I didn't break my collarbone, I'd probably gutted it out as a linebacker and been third string the rest of my life. But I've been a heck of a special teams player. That's what I came to do. So.
So after such a long, successful professional football career, why farming? Why get into that?
Well, it was kind of one of those things that when I would come back home during the off season, and then you just kind of be around it, and you just really, like anything as you get older, you just start seeing things, you start appreciating things, and you view things differently than you did when you grew up, and so when my grandma passed away, and it was, for whatever reason, it's written in the will for us to sell our Century Farm, a farm that's been in our name for over 100 years. And thankfully I was in the NFL and I could afford to buy it. And so bought the family farm. And it was kind of one of those things that, working with the farmer that had been cash renting it for years, just working with him and just kind of taking care of that, being a steward of that land and kind of getting to know how things work, and just kind of that was kind of my introduction. And then obviously with Bruce Nelson as a great friend of mine, and his knowledge of everything, it just kind of, the more we talked, the more it just kind of made sense. And I'm a hobby farmer by all means. Like, this is not paying. Like, I'm not. I mean, to be a farmer these days, I mean, you gotta have a lot of land and a lot of equipment. And I'm just kind of finding my niche, and kind of custom farming, which is what's the definition of farming? I mean, you could have a garden and be a farmer. So, but yeah, so I'm kind of in the game, but it's not like I'm having a full-fledged operation or anything like the Nelsons have, or all the other farmers. But yeah, it's just something that attracted to me. I love being outside. I love manual labor. I love working, and so it's just one of those things that, as my years progressed in the NFL, playing a lot longer than I ever thought I'd play, it became more attractive.
I can only imagine with your enthusiasm for the program and this week with Wisconsin, you've got to feel like you want to be out there practicing.
Every time you come here, I mean, it's just, there's nothing better. It's just one of those things that, running out of an NFL stadium, tunnel and all that stuff is fun, but I explain to people, like, there's a reason why everyone remembers, like, high school football, because it was, like, the purest form of football. It was just, you just played it because it was great, and you played it for the right reasons. And so each level you go, things get skewed because of everything. I mean, look at the building we're in. I mean, this doesn't just happen because you love the game of football. It's a business, and each level you get higher, it becomes more of a business. And so that's why everyone, even when you played made it all the way in the NFL, you still go back to your high school days. You still go back to your college days. I mean, NFL is great, but at some point it's it's a business, and you got to make the plays, or you get fired. So it's just, there's a little different tone to that than, hey, we get to play football today, and then go to Dairy Queen after. It's just like there's nothing better than that. Like that is like that. And so Iowa football is one of those moments where you just played football and you went to school, and at the best school in the country. And so it's one of those things that you just, to go back, and any time you go back, it's just you have all those memories, you have all those things going through your head, and you hope that you didn't take it for granted. And I think with all my trials and tribulations, if you will, prior to even stepping foot on, it made me really appreciate just the opportunity. And so I was able to really appreciate a lot of things that I don't think a normal, regular, scholarship player did. Maybe, I don't know.
Have you thought about coaching to try and impart that wisdom?
Yeah, actually, I'm done here. I'm going to do some online classes at the Iowa Central Community College. I have to get my coaching degree certificate, and so I am getting my certificate to have it. I don't have any plans of doing it, but I do enjoy being around kids. I do enjoy, my brothers and I have a football camp up in Humboldt each summer, and I tell you what, it's just enough where you just kind of get that itch of just kids. And it's a 2-day camp, and literally, like, what you notice from day 1 to day 2, it's like, wow, it's my oldest brother Dan is a real coach. He coaches at Illinois State, offensive line coach there, and every time I'm like, I get it. It just kind of gets that, because I always say, I'm like, I'll never be a coach. I'm a football player. Like, I play the game. I loved playing the game, but coaching is just a whole different level. And so, but high school, I think I could help those. You would never find me near one of those offices in college. I mean, these guys, that's way too much commitment, and the risk reward just doesn't not very good there. But that's why I appreciate and respect the heck out of these guys for them to be here for these kids.
What do you think of the way the team's playing this season?
Well, I think it's definitely up and down from kind of expectations. I think obviously coming off a season like last year, everyone's just beaming and thinking that if we lose, then it's the end of the world. And so I think everyone's kind of collectively coming to terms that we're still progressing, we're still getting better. The good thing is we have the people, we have the coaches in place to still be successful. I mean, I don't think it's been it depends what you rate at disappointing or a successful season so far. But I think I like what's going on, and I think obviously as a former player, you're always a little more optimistic than the fan, I guess. I guess I'm a fan now too, but you just have a different lens that you look through it at. You understand what these kids are going through, you understand what the coaches are going through, and you understand the little things that, play here, play there. It's a whole different story. And you can look back at last year, and there's tons of plays the ball doesn't bounce here, we're 7-5, instead of 12-0. So it's why we love the game. It's why we play. It's why we're crazy about it, because it's a play here and there that separates good from great.
George Kittle might not play this week, so there might be a walk-on, just like you, might be starting this week. Peter Picard, what advice would you have for him?
Stay low, and head on a swivel, and because Wisconsin is playing up there. I mean, that was an eye opener. I was just young and still learning the ropes, but yeah, it's going to be a great experience, and the best part about it. And the best part about this game is opportunities. And most guys are going to get an opportunity. And, guys that work hard, that show up, that do their job, you're going to get your opportunity. The exciting thing about this game is, what do you do with your opportunity? And this is an opportunity, and you obviously don't wish any injury upon anyone, but it's a team sport. Coach Dungy always reiterated, next man up. No matter who got hurt or whatever, you just got to keep that even keel about, hey, we're a team. Next guy up, you got to do your job, and I think that's no different than whatever level you're talking about. So this is a great opportunity, and a lot of guys have had some opportunities and they've taken advantage of it, and that experience is only going to help themselves, but also help the team down the road.
Acres do you have on your farm? What do you do, like corn, soybean rotation?
Yeah, well, actually, the family farm that I got from my grandma was we're just starting our first year. I'm turning it to organic farming, so organic corn, organic soybean. So it has to be 3 years without any chemicals on it. So this year, seeded it with alfalfa and oats, and cut and baled those this fall or this summer. And so it'll be alfalfa next year, and then that third year we'll be doing corn. So got a couple years here to really kind of get me up to speed on organic farming. But it's just one of those things, like I said before to Darren, that this is kind of my niche of farming. It's kind of my hobby farming, instead of going and trying to acquire 1,000+ acres of land and then buy equipment and then now ride the roller coaster of the market. It's like, okay, I sacrificed way too many bones and bruises and things like that to go through that mental anguish, and so it's like, all right, what can I do with this farm that's been in our name for over 100 years, and just organics, it just kind of with kids, and you just kind of start. I'm certainly not an expert on saying, I don't stand on my soapbox and say organic is the only way, this and that, GMOs, all that stuff. I don't play that card, I guess. I just see something that I think this is going to be beneficial for people, and it gives me a way to kind of do something different and kind of go back to the 80s farming and walking beans, what I did growing up from my uncle, and doing things like that, and kind of learning the hardships of getting rid of those pesky weeds. So it's kind of like, when a safety rolls down to cover one, it's like, what do you got to do? So it's not similar, but it's just that challenge of trying to figure out a way to do your craft and to become better at it, and to become the best farmer you can be. So I'm going to enjoy the challenge. It's going to be so if you want to walk beans here in a couple of years, give me a call. So $5 an hour is what I got paid growing up. I haven't looked up the state. I did that too. Yeah. So we don't do $100 an acre here. So
How many acres? That's
it was 135 tillable. Yep, for the family farm, and then we have 2 other farms up in Emmitsburg that Bruce farms for me, and so he takes care of those up there.